Welcome to Unit 2 of Real Shanghai Mathematics Practice Book 3.2. So this is the second book. This unit is called Multiplying and Dividing by Two-Digit Number, and it's quite a long unit and consists of 8 parts. So let's continue. So the first part is called Speed, Time and Distance. And for this you need to be familiar with the following equation, which is the relationship between speed, time, and distance. So I'm not sure if this has been mentioned before, but we'll cover it now. So the way that I like to do it is create a triangle that you need to remember. Although there is a trick that will help. Okay, and this is the triangle, and this is how we make the triangle. And the top is always D for distance, so this stands for distance. And then this is speed and time, and the order of these two is not that important. But the way why we do this is because then distance, so D for distance equals speed times time. Okay, so speed times time. Okay, and a speed, if you're doing speed, then that's distance divided by t, and you can see that from a fraction, right? So if it was speed, that would be equals d divided by t, and we can write divided by t like this, or we can even write it like dash and a t there. And t, again, time would be distance divided by speed, and so on and so forth. And one of the clues is in the question, so the units really do help you out, so you need to be familiar with it. Like, for example, question 1, the speed of the bicycle is about 300 meters per minute. So that meters per minute is the unit for that meters per minute, m per minute, is a very important unit and gives you a lot of clue of what's going on. So this is the unit for speed. Okay, and that is meters is for the distance, and minute is the time, and the units for time. So you can see minutes divided by time, that's for distance. Okay, so the units of speed itself will remind you that this is the equation, and then you know how to write it, and so on and so forth. So moving on to question 1, as I say, it's a long topic, so I'm not going to do all of them. Let's do 1C. The cheetah is the fastest animal on land. Its speed is over 30 meters per second, which means what? Which means it travels at, okay, so that's how they want to try. Which means it travels at 30 meters per second. Okay, so just getting too familiar with what speed actually means. Write the correct unit in the brackets. So we do 2b. The walking speed of a pupil is about 55. Okay, so 55 what in a per minute should we go for? 55 meters per minute. Let's think about that. Could that be right? Fairly slow. No, I think that's reasonable. So 55 meters per minute. So m for meter per minute. And shall we do 3d? Okay, so d is an aeroplane flies 1,200 meters in 6 seconds. So speed is again distance divided by time. So distance is 1,200, and time is time. So 1,200 divided by 6, that will be your answer. And then the units have to match. So the units here is going to be meters per second. So m/seconds. Okay, and seconds we normally just write s for the seconds. And question 4. The distance Dylan House School is 460. It takes him 7 minutes to walk there. It takes 8. Who is faster? So we just have to work out the speed of each one. So 462 divided by 7, and the other one is 520 divided by 8, and whichever is the larger number would be the faster, because the greater the speed, the faster the traveling. And then level B, car travels at 1 kilometers per minute on a road. This is twice the speed of a bus on the road. What is the speed of the bus? So if the car travels at that speed, that's twice okay, fine. What is the speed of the bus? So first we need to look at the units. The units for the car travel is 1 kilometer per minute, and answer is meters per minute. So let's change that. So that's the same. 1 kilometer per minute is same as 1,000 meters per minute, and then half of 1,000. Which one's quick? What is speed of the bus? So the bus is this is twice. So this bus is going to be slower. and half that. So 1000 divided by 2, 500 meters per minute. Moving on to page 11, question level A. Let's see, complete the following tables. So again, the table should be straightforward. Shall we do motorcycle? So we want to work out time. We've got the speed and distance. So we know time equals distance divided by speed, and the units need to sort of match each other. Okay, so that's why this time, when you work that out, 500 divided by 10, the answer has to be in seconds. Okay, because the speed, if you look at it, is meters per second. Question 2, let's just do 2b. 78 meters per hour is the same as 78 meters per minute. No, it isn't. So imagine if you can travel 78 meters in an hour, in a minute you would be traveling very much less. Okay, because minutes is far less than an hour. 60th hour divided by 60. So that was incorrect. And then moving on to next page 12, question 3. Again, which shall we do? Let's do 3C. Aeroplane flies at that power. What is the speed of the aeroplane? So it'd be the flies, that's the distance, 2390 divided by 2, and then the units, remember, will be kilometers per hour. The picture shows a signpost on a motorway. This is level B. Shall we just do which one? Let's just do the first one. A. Speed of the bus is 90 kilometers per hour. How soon will the bus arrive in Beijing after it passes the signpost? So if it passes the signpost, we look at the signpost, Beijing is 270 kilometers. So that's the distance. Distance divided by speed will give you your time. So 270 divided by 90. And remember, the units has to be hours because the speed unit is kilometers per hour. So again, H for hour. And then moving on to the second part, which is called multiplying a 2-digit number by a multiple of 10. So that's this, multiplying a 2-digit number by multiple of 10. So this is the next section, and we've got a few done there. So we have question 1. So we do question 1. So 500 times by, so we could do, okay, they're doing step by step. So let's do 5 times 16. Work that one out. So that should be fairly straightforward to do. That's 5 times 10 is 50. 5 times 6 is 30. So that's 80. And then when you do 500, we just add 2 zeros to that. And when you do it for 50, you just add 1 zero to that. So for 50 times 16, it will be 80 that we worked at before, and then add 1 zero, so it will be 800. And for 500, it will be 8,000. And then question 2, again, similar process here. Shall we do 300 times 16? So 16 times 3. 16 times 3 is 30, plus 3 times 6 is 18, 48, and then add 2 zeros there. And shall we do 3C? One factor is the biggest 3-digit number, and the other factor is the smallest 3-digit number. What is their product? So that's going to be the biggest 3-digit number is going to be 999, and the smallest 3-digit number is going to have to be 100. So we just do 999 times by 100. So you just add 2 zeros to that. Moving on to question 4, page 14. Poppy walks to school in the morning. The clock shows a departure time. Arrival has walking speed is 62 meters per meter. How far is the school from her house? So we have the speed, and we need to work out the time, and then from that we can do a speed times by time will give you the distance, and the distance will have to be in meters, and the time we're working at has to be in minutes. So if she went departure time, arrival at school, so it looks like that's 20 minutes. And so it'd be 62 times 20. So 62 times 2, and then add the 0. Okay. And the level B, shall we just do the bottom one? 2, Alex is practicing Chinese calligraphy. He can write 9 words in 1 minute. How many words can he write in 2 hours at the same speed, at this speed? So that would be 9 words in minute is the speed. And now the time is given to you. How many and so we can work out how many words. Okay, so this is not about distance but how many words, because the speed here has to do with words and not about how far they travel. So to do this, first of all, we need to match the units of time. So we got 1 minute and we got 2 hours. So it's always easier to change the 2 hours to minutes, not minutes to the other way around, because you're going to get very small digits and that's going to make it confusing. So 2 hours is the same as 2 times 60, 120 minutes. So it's going to be 9 times 120, and that will be your answer. Again, the same as 9 times 12, and then add the 0. So these are again multiples of 10. And then moving on to the third part, which is called multiplying a 2-digit number by a 2-digit number. So they're showing you some steps how to do that there in the first question. Which shall we do? Let's do 12 times 2 times by what? Okay, so the split is, there's different ways of doing it. This method hasn't been really shown to you before. So shall we do this way? Okay. As I say, there's different methods of doing it. If you want to try this one, you can. So let's do this one, which is 12 times. Okay, let's try and write a bit better. 12 times by 16. So we can change the 16 into 12 times. So I'm going to add a bracket here because this is about the 16. 16 is the same as 2 times 8. Okay, and now we don't need the brackets because we need times the numbers, as you should know before. It doesn't matter what order we do it in. So then what we can do is 12 times 2, which is 24, and then times that by 8, and that will be your answer. Okay, another way of doing it is like the 54 one, which has been shown before, really. It's 54 times 13, 54 times 10, plus 54 times 3, and then you work those out and add them together. And then the takeaway we can do 19 times 36, which is 20 times 36. So 20 is gone past the 19 by 1, so it's 20 times 36. Take away 1 times 36. Okay, again, take away 1 times 36 because 20 times 36 has gone past it. So imagine going up the 36 times table, you got to 19, then this one went up to 20, so we got to go back by 1. So if you're going up by 30, 36, 72, and so on and so forth, if you're going through 36 type table. So that's one way of thinking about it, but that's what it's done. And then question 2, which one shall we do? Okay, we'll do, so again, 2 different ways, so we'll just cover quickly both of them. So one of the ways to do it is 25 times 2 times 8. Again, the times is there, so don't get confused with, don't do the addition here because you got the times there. So 16 is the same as 2 times 8. So then for that, you do 25 times 2, which is 50, 50 times 8, which I believe is 400. Okay, and the next one, this is a takeaway, so it's going to be 25 times, what shall we do? We could do 25 times 20. And then take away, well, to get 16 is 20, take away 4. Take away 25 times 4. 25 times 4 is 100, so on and so forth. You could do it, and then you can use those either ways you want to do it. Preferred method, 43 times 19, you could do 43 times 20, then take away 43 times 1. We can take away 43, and so on and so forth. And then we've got page 16, which is level A. Practice again, 34 times 23, again 34 times 23, you could do that 34 times 20 plus 34 times 3, and so on and so forth. And then you got these bottom ones which are showing you how to do it. So let's do the column method because I think that would be useful. So we'll do a column method. So which one shall we do? Shall we do 16? We'll do 16. So this is the way I would prefer to do it, and it builds on what you've learned before, which is good. Just try to make sure, this is a bit more tricky for me, but try to make sure you have your ones down same column and your tens in the same column. Okay, so we always start with ones. Okay, so this is not the bus stop method. For everything else, pretty much we always start with ones. So this is now we're just concentrating on this. Ignore this for the moment. We're just concentrating on this and solving this first. So the first line row here will be just to do with the 3. So 3 times 6 is 18. 18, 1 there, and then 3 times 1. Again, we're just concentrating on this one and dealing with this one first. So it's like doing 16 times 3. So this is how we would have done 16 times 3, ignoring the tens here. So that'll be 3 times 1, which is 3, and then 1 we had carried over because it was 18, will be 48. And then when you move on to the tens here, when you move on to tens, because basically now we're doing 16 times 30. So, and we said if we do 16 times 30, we add a 0. So this is going to be a 0 here. Because again, 16 times, this is pretty much 16 times 30. This one is at 10, so 16 times 30. So that's why you have to add a 0, then you move on to this one. Then it's 3 times 6. Again, we've done this calculation for the last one, 18. So there's 1 here, then 3 times 1, and then add the 1 there. There would have been 1 here for the 18, and that's that. And then we add these together, and that gives you the answer. The 8 times 0, 8 plus these adding 8 plus 0 is 8, 8 4 is 12, and there's ones here, and therefore this is 5 to 8. Right, so that's how we do these ones. And you've got some more in question 2, complete the calculation. So again, you've got something similar in question 3. Again, they haven't put the zeros at the end, so you don't have to put the 0 when you move to that side, but I think there's no harm putting a 0 there. Just reminds you that we're doing the 20s. Okay, so for example, the 42 times 22 is 84. They've done for you. Below that, they haven't put a 0 at the end, but they've moved it to the other side. So you can put a 0 there, or not put a 0 there, but you need to make sure and remember that when you're doing the tens, you've moved one to the other side. Hopefully that makes sense. And then we've got estimates, estimate 53. So it shows you how to do it. You can do an estimation, and then your answer is going to be somewhere around that, and it's just more practice. Question 5, true or false. Put a tick or for true across. So shall we do one of them? Which one shall we do? When you multiply a 2-digit number by a 2-digit number, the product will not be a 2-digit number. Product will not be a 2-digit number. So let's see, we can pick a very small number. The smallest 10-digit number, 2-digit number is going to be 10, and the smallest one, which is going to be times by, it can be 10, and so 10 times 10 is 100. So that's the smallest possible. So that's, the product will not be a 2-digit number. So that's true, because products will be from that we can see that it's going to be more. It's going to be most likely a 3-digit number. So we can't. The product will not be. So it can't be a 2-digit number because we've done the smallest times the smallest, and that's 100. Okay, level B. Work out the answer in the sentence 43. The product of 2 times 4 stands for. The product for 2 times 4 stands for, I'm not sure what they're referring to here. These are standing for the tens, but let's not get too fixated with that. I use the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4 multiplied by 2-digit number. How can you arrange the numbers to get the greatest product? Okay, so the greatest product you get is by having the largest numbers possible times by each other. So the largest numbers will be what? Okay, you get the largest numbers by concentrating on the tens. So I would have 40 something and 30 something for the next one. So I'll do 42 times by 31, probably be one of the largest ones, and you can double check that. And then moving on to question 18, 11. Again, I'm not going to do this because this should be fairly straightforward now. 11 times 40 plus 11 times 3, and the takeaway could do 61 times 20. Takeaway 61 times 1. Question: how much is 24 83s approximately? It's 24 times 83 approximately. So you could do, I guess we could do approximately 24 times 100. How much would that be approximately? And then you could do your working out there. Don't get too fixated about estimation and what they use, what you use. Okay, estimation is just a way of knowing that your answers are roughly right. And so if your answer is way off, then you know that you've made a mistake. Again, the similar column method, we've done that, so you can use that. And 4 again, just need to double check and do it right if you're doing it wrong. Question 5, what is the product? So as I said, what is the product when you multiply 269? So that's 2 times 69. One, that's the answer there. What is the total when you add 2 69s together? So what is the total? So 69 plus 69. Okay, so the answer will be the same, I assume, for what I've understood there. Question 6, read each question carefully and work out the answer. There are 32 teams. Each team is made up of 23 football players. How many football players? So it'll be 32 times 23. And then level B, as I say, I'm going to skip some of these questions. Dylan was working on the number center 78, but he misread 3 for a 6. His result is more than the correct answer. Okay, so you need to work. You need some space to work this out. So you need to do. He misread 3 for a 6, so that's going to be. Okay, perhaps right. Okay, so this is a tricky one. You don't need. Okay, so instead of times it by 23, they times by 26. So it times by three lots of 78 more. So that his result is how many times more is going to be 78 times 3 more than what it should have been. Again, because it's going to be 78 times 23 plus 78 times 3. Okay, so if you've understood that, that's great, because 23 plus 3 equals 26. I gotta say level B is a bit more trickier, and you could try the other one yourselves. And if you are stuck and you want me to do it, then let me know. But it's a large topic, so I don't want to spend too long on it. And then we got page 21, which is for multiplying a 2-digit number by a 3-digit number. Okay, so multiplying a 2-digit number by a 3-digit number. So they're showing you how to do that. So again, it's exactly the same principle that I've told you before with the other one. So let's just take this one. So it's, at the moment, first this side we only concentrate on the 2. So 2 times 9 is 18, one's carried over. 2 times 0 is 0, one's carried over, so that's 1. And then 2 times 5 is 10. Okay, so this is the same as 4 or 9 times 2. Then you move on to this one too. So this is add a 0 there. They haven't put a 0 there, but I'd like to put a 0 there just to remind you moving over, because moving over to this one, because this is 509 times by 20. Okay, and then if you do all of that times by 2, 0, 0, 0, you can see it'll be identical. And then if you add that 2 together, and you get the answer there. And you do something similar for the next one. And then question 2, estimate, and then work it out, estimate. So you can do 38 times 100 as an estimate, and so on. Is 38 times 11, 40 times. Okay, so the estimate is 40 times 111. And then you can, okay, that's another way of doing estimate then. So 40, again, should be straightforward, because 4 times 1111 will be 444, and then add a 0 to that. So they're telling you how to do it in terms of approximations. And then page 22, question 3. Again, we've done these before, so I'm not going to cover it again. Question 4, again, should be straightforward. Question 5, which one should we do? 5b, the price of a bicycle 157, a car costs 151, more than 57 times the cost of the bicycle. How much is the car? So we first have to do 157 times by 57, 157 times by 57. You can put that in brackets if you want to, and then add 151 to that. And level B, some of these are tricky in terms of how they've phrased it, so I'll leave the first one to you to do. Question 2, primary school is organizing a trip. Buying tickets for 163.9 teachers, the ticket threshold, yes, is this enough? Is this enough? So we do 163 times by 25, and then add 9 times 40, work that out, and then you can see if it's enough for the money she has. And then page 23, we've got a few more questions. Again, should be fairly straightforward. Question 2, again, should be fairly straightforward. First calculate this, first calculate that. And if you don't get that, then I wouldn't worry too much about it. It's more about physically being able to do it. Question 3, again, more practice in terms of timesing. So 54 times, so this 54 times 70. So just work out 54 times 7, whatever the answer is, add a 0, that'd be 54 times 70. 54 times 700, that'd be 2 zeros you're adding, and 540 times 70, you're adding 2 zeros again, because 54 times 10 has 1 0, and 7 times 10 has another 0 there. Moving on to question 6, so we do 6b. There are only 2 zeros at the end of the product of 350 times by 8. Okay, that could be right, could be wrong. It just depends on what 35 times 8 is. So you have to work out what 35 times 8 is, which is what? Shall we do 8? 8 3 is 8, 60, 24, 240 plus 40. So no, so this will be incorrect, because the 35 times 8 has a 0 as well at the end, and then you got 2 more zeros after that. Question 7a, 7b, shall we do a distance from A to B is 43. Speed is that much. What would we be able to do? So 30 minutes. So we need to match the units first. So first of all, unit has to match. So we'll change the distance 43 kilometers to 4,300. 43,000, and then divide that by 1,500. Okay, and then have you done this before? Okay, remember, I remind you, dividing by number, we've said this before. If you divide it by so that would be the same as doing 43,000 divided by 15, and then you take away 2 more zeros, okay, because 1/500. If you understood that, that's great. That will be would the car be able to go from A to B in 30 minutes? And then you find the distance it would have taken, sorry, the time that it would have taken, and then you could see whether it would have, is that less or more than 30 minutes. So if the time taken to get 43 kilometers more than 30 minutes, then they would not have been able to get to A to B. Level B, Dylan is doing his homework. Question 2, some star times 5 equals something. Dylan miscopied the question and got the following result: star times 6 equals 7,200. Okay, based on the result, and then work out the correct answer. So work out the star would be 7,200 divided by 6. Again, this is 72 divided by 6, and then you still got the 2 zeros there. And then whatever the star is, then times that by 5, and you should be able to get your answer there. And then moving on to page 26, calculations. 12 times 54 plus 46, they're in brackets, so 54 plus 46 has to be done first, then times by 12, and again 44, take away 14 times 3, remember you do your times first, then so you do 14 times 3, work that out, and then 44 take away that, so just remind regarding bit mass or bud mass. Question 2, estimations, again column method for question 3, so just a bit more practice. And read question, okay, so there's page 27, we've got some questions to read. 4B, travel agency arranged 400 tourists to go on a resort. The agency rented 12 identical cars in total. Each bus can take up to 38 passengers. The travel to guarantee that every tourist will have a seat. Okay, so how many seats will there be? 12 and 2 buses. So that'll be 38 times 12, and you work out what that number is, and that should be, I believe, more than 400. If it's more than 400, then they can guarantee it. And then level B is just about greater than or smaller than. Some of them are equal to. Again, just getting familiar with timesing by. So 500 times 9 is the same as 5 times 9, and then you got 3 zeros there, so you add those zeros there. Okay, whereas the 900 times 5 is 5 times 9, and there's only 2 zeros there, so we know which one will be larger, which one will be smaller, and so on and so forth for that. And then question 2, again, similar. It's been done before, so we do 15 times 28. Okay, so that's going to be same as 10 times 28 plus 5 times 28. And that should be fairly straightforward. And we'll go on to part 5, which is called dividing a number. So now moving on to divisions. So let's see if we can find it. That's the one. So it's division now, and division by larger numbers. So these can be a bit tricky, the way to do it, the way I would do it. If there's another way that you prefer to do it and it gets you the answer, then great, really. As I said before many times, just about speed. So let's do 635 divided by 80. So that'll be bus stop method. So 635 divided by 80. Okay, this is probably one of the harder ones. So how many 80s? So you need to know your 80s times table, but obviously you won't know in Bahar, so we can use working out here. How many 80s go into 63? So we know none go into 63, so there's nothing here. There's 0 here, so we just have to work out the answer here. So if you want to put 0 here, it's fine, but just remember we don't have to write 0 here. And then we've got 5. How many 80s go into 635? So then we have to just work it out, and the 8 times table should help us. So we know 8 times 8 is 64, so it's likely going to be 80 times 7. So you could do that by doing 80 times 7 here. Or if it's not some number, you could do 80, or you could do 80 and then 160 and so on and so forth. Okay, but this is probably a quicker way, just doing 80 times 7. And okay, and we know that the times table is roughly anyway. And these are all multiples 10, so these are a bit easier. 8 times 7 is 56. There's going to be 560. Okay, so we're going to be 560. So the answer is going to be 7. And the rest of it's going to be a remainder. And how much is the remainder? Well, we know 8 times 8 is 64, so that would have been 640. So this looks like the remainder is going to be 5 less than that, so that's going to be 75. So the answer is, again, we don't write zeros here, don't have to write that. 7, remainder 75. Okay, and we do the same for the other question 2 as well. Question 2. 520 divided by 60, you can do the similar thing there. When you divide it by 60, we can't get rid of the 2 zeros because okay, I mean, some of these things you'll learn as you're going along. If you don't understand it, don't worry too much about that. Okay, probably doesn't help. Yeah, fine, might help, but don't worry too much about that. So okay, so we just do 520 divided by 60. Okay, one more then. So 520 divided by 60. Again, you got to. This is why it's so important to be very good at your times table. Okay, because you're going to still use it for here as well. So again, 60, nothing goes into 5 to 50, 50, so we have to do 520. So 6, what table gives it to 52? So we go 6 times 6, 6 times 6 times 8 is 48. So we'll go with that. So 48, 6 times 8 is 48. Yep, 6 times 8 is 48. So 60 times 8 is 480. So that will leave you with how much more? That will leave you with 40 more. With 40 more. And so 40 goes here. Again, let's double check that. 6 times 8 is 480, yeah, plus 40 is 520, that's right. So there's 40 here, that means 400 now. How many 60 is going to 400? That's going to be 6, because 6 times 6 is 36, that's 360, and then you got a remainder of 40. Okay, a remainder of 40. So hopefully that will be good enough, and if you get stuck and you're not sure, then go back to what the example that I've shown you. Okay, so and then they showed you a different way of doing question 3, so you could try that to see if it's right or wrong. Question 4a, should we do 4a? It costs £20 to buy a plastic Dexter recorder. How many plastic recorders can you buy with 130? So 130 divided by 20, and then the y remains over. So even this one, because 20, you just can go 20, 40, and you can say 20 times 6 is 120. So that'll be 6 that I can buy. Okay, again, you got to be very familiar with your times tables to be able to do this quickly or efficiently. Work out the answer and fill in the brackets. Divided by 8 equals, what is the greatest remainder? When the greatest remainder is, okay, so the greatest remainder is going to be, okay, it's a confusing question, so I'm going to skip that. But what they want to say is greatest remainder possible if you divide by 30 is going to be 29. So it's going to be 80 times 30 plus 29. The divide for multiples of 10, the quotient is one digit number and the remainder is 9. So the remainder is 9, the quotient is the answer is one digit number and the remainder is 9. So what would that be? So that would have to be by a multiple of 10. Okay, so what are we dividing by? Okay, again, very confusing, so I'll skip that. And if you can do it, then great. Moving on to the next one, which is part 6, dividing a 2-digit number by a 3-digit or a 3-digit number by a 2-digit number. So again, similar to the last one, exactly the same technique is used. And let's find it here. Great. So exactly the same as before, really. 1248, that should be fairly straightforward. If you know your 12 times table, so you just go up in that. And even if you don't know your 12 times table, okay, so slightly different because the before ones were multiples of 10. So this time round we'll do it here. Okay, let's just do a bigger one. 65, 538 again. So this could be a bit more trickier. So 65. So 535 divided by 65. So again, 65s, how many goes into 53? They don't, so we're going to have to do 535 completely. So 65 times what number gives you 535? Again, you need to be fairly comfortable with your times table to have a rough idea, rough guess of where it will be. So 65, 6 times, I would try 6 times 6 is 36. That's not near the 530. 6 times 7 is 42. And 6 times 7 is 42. Right. 6 times 4, 42, 6 times 8, 48. Shall we try that? Okay, let's try it. Then we could just try 65 times 8. Okay, and that will work it out. That will be 8 times 5 is 40. 40, so 4 there at the bottom. And 6 times 8 is 48. So 48 plus 4 is 48 plus 520. Okay, 520. Again, just double check this. I might make a mistake because I'm trying to do it quickly. I see 46 times 8 is 48. Yeah, for 520, so that's 520. That's below that, and that seems to be about right. So we're going to be 8 here, and the remainder has to be less than 65. So the remainder here is going to be 15. Okay, so these are a bit more trickier. So sometimes you can do it the way I've shown you there by timesing. Sometimes if it's not that far up, you can do write 65 here and then do 65 times by 2 would have been 130 and so on and so forth. But generally speaking, doing a times method is quicker. Okay, so we'll go on to the next questions, which one shall we do? 4b, cost £46. fill in the missing numbers. The price of a wooden recorder. No, we've done 4A already. Okay, no, sorry, that's the wrong question, wrong page. We're going on to 2. Column method, again, should be straightforward. What is the quotient of 72 divided by 36? So it means what's the answer? So 36 times, that'll be 2. How many 87s are there in 783? So we do 783 divided by 87. And again, sometimes you have to do work out which times table, and so if you get it wrong, move one down, and so on and so forth. So shall we do this one quickly? So for this one, we're doing 783 87. Okay, so what do we times by? So we know 87 times 10 would have been too high, 870, so we don't need that. Again, 8 will give you a clue, but 87 is probably closer to 90, so probably go with think of it in that term. So again, we have to go with a number. I'd go with 72. 9 times 6 is not 72. Okay, so we're going for so we go with 8. 9, 8, 73. 9 times 8, no. 9 times 8, I wouldn't go with that. What are we going to go for? 9 times 9. Let's go for 9 times. So we go 87 times 9. So we go 87 times 9. Okay, and that will be 9 times 7 is 63. 6 there. 9 times 8 is 72, and then you got your 783, and you got your 783. Okay, and if you, I mean, clearly I'm more comfortable with numbers, so I can go there. But let's say you didn't get that, and you did 9 times 8. Well, you know that's not right, and you could try 9 times 9. So sometimes you have to try a few times to get to the right one, which is not a problem. And as you get more confident with numbers, you'll be finding it much easier. Question 4B. There are 138 books in school, which is 23 times the number of natural books. How many books are there? So the books are going to be less. So it's going to be 138 divided by 23. And could you B, fill in the missing numbers, which sometimes is a bit tricky. See how you get on with that. And page 33. Again, column methods to show you how to do that. And they've shown you certain steps that can be done for that. So you can see there, you've got a remainder over there. Just see if it's right or wrong. Column method again. Should we do 4C on page 34? 328 pupils are going on a school trip. They will be traveling on a coaches. And like the coaches, like the one in the picture, will there be enough seats on each if the school has 7 of these coaches? So 48 pupils. 7 of these coaches, 48 times 7, work that out, and then you can work out whether there'll be enough or not. B, A divided by B equals 8, remainder 17. The smallest number that B can be is what? So B, the smallest, if the remainder is 17, then the smallest number that B can be is going to have to be 18. Okay, and then if you know that, then you should be able to work out the rest, because it'll be 18 times 8 plus 17. And we've got 3 friends, each divides I discovered dividends are the same. The quotient is what? So you just need to work out the answers there and put them in order when the dividends are the same. Okay, so don't get too fixated with these. Again, quotient is the answer, and dividend is the original number, the bigger number, 328, and divisor what's been divided by, if I'm correct, for what I can remember. And then page 35, again, just doing some more exercises in division. And next page is the same thing. Shall we just do 4B? 272 lilies in a flower shelf. Florence puts them into bunches with 38 lilies in each bunch. How many bunches? So we just 272 divided by 38. How much more lilies does she need to make another bunch? So whatever the remainder is, how much more do you need to add to that to get to 38? And that would be the answer. So just be a little bit careful with that. And then B, again, a bit more tricky, so I'm not going to spend so much time doing it. And if you can get it, that'd be great. Again, if you're really keen on it, we can work on it together, but you'll need to let me know. And page 37, we've got column method again. So these have been done before, so you can try that. It should be straightforward. Page 3, again, column method. Question 4, shall we do 4B? A school has 12 classes, people 34 in each class. The whole class school is going on a visit. If each coach can take, what is the smallest number of coaches that we need? So we need to work out 34 times 12, how much that is, and then divide by 48. What is the smallest number will be one more than that, okay? Because we can't have any remainders left over. People will need to get into a coach. So whatever you work out, add 1 to that, and that should be the answer, because can't leave anybody behind, so there'll be some empty seats, but that would be the smallest number. If you want to take everybody there. And page 38, 39, again, this has been done before, column method or bus stop method, whichever way you want to do it. As I say, you have to use both usually to work it out. And moving on to page 40, we can create your number questions there, and the magic tricks we're not going to do. So moving on to section 7, which is called dividing a multi-digit number by a 2-digit number. Where are we here? Let's see. That's the one. So similar to what's been done before, multi-digit number by a 2-digit number. So similar to what's been done before, for I can remember. The more practice here. Same method that have been used before. Question page 42. We do 4b. Group people pick 300 kilograms of apples. How many baskets are needed? If 25 kilograms, so 300 divided by 25. Level B is a little bit more trickier. If the quotient is a 1-digit number, so question 1 level B, 1-digit number, then it can't be too far ahead of 57. 1-digit number, okay. So what number should be written if the quotient is a 1-digit number? So I would go with 193. I would assume the quotient, and the answer would be 1-digit number. Okay, and you could try the other ones yourselves. Page 43, again, column method. So these are just a bit longer. Okay, so let's do one of these again. Just because they're longer shouldn't make you squares. Exactly the same principle applies. So which one shall we do? Let's do 57. Remember to read this as, this is 6,270 divided by 57. And with the bus stop method, remember, we have to go in this order from the largest ones to the thingy. So 57, how many 57s go into 62? Well, that's going to be 1. Again, 0 there if you want to write it, but remember, don't read that. 1, and then how many, that's going to be 5 carried over, that's 5. 57, how many 57s into 57? 1. How many 57s go into 0? 0. Okay, so don't forget that 0 there, and that will be your answer there. And then you can use column methods. Correct calculations for the next one, again, should be fairly straightforward, although need a lot of practice. And for 4a, let's do puppy walks 255 meters from home school, speed of 85 meters from how many minutes does the school trip take? So again, it'll be distance divided by time, speed, and again, units might help you with that. So 2550 divided by 85, and the answer will be in minutes, because that's the units there. Level B, again, greatest number, smallest numbers. If you can do that, great. If not, then not a problem, because a lot of it is confusing because of the wording rather than being any difficulty trying to sort of work it out or not. And then page 45, again, color methods. So it should be straightforward, just more practice there. Question 5 on page 47 on this return tip. So question 5, I'll let you guys do that yourself. B, missing numbers, again, a bit more complicated. If you can do that, then not a problem. And then moving on to page 48, again, revision really. 36 divided by 6, you know the answer will be 6. 360 divided by 60, the zeros will cancel each other out when you're doing that. Because remember, 360 divided by 60 is the same as 360 divided by 6 times 10. So you're dividing it by 6 and you're also dividing it by 10. And so dividing by 10 will get rid of the 0. So that's what I'm referring to. Okay, let's do larger one and see if we can understand this. So 200 divided by 800. Okay, that's the same as 72 divided by 8, which is 9. Sorry, 800, we're doing 800. Okay, that's the same as 200 divided by 8, which is 9. And then you got 2 more zeros. When you divide it by zeros like 100, this is like divided by 100, we get rid of these 2 here. So it actually ends up as 9. Okay, because we got rid of that. When you do that, what actually ends up happening is this becomes 72 divided by 8. Okay, if you understood that, great. If not, it might take a little while. Again, 5, 4, 0, 0, divided by 900. When you're dividing, so this has 100, this is 54 times 100, and this is 9 times 100. Both have 100 in there. So this 100 can be divided by this 100, so these two can go rid of. Okay, again, they match 100, 2 zeros here and 2 zeros there. The only way we can cancel it because the both sides has zeros in there. So this is the same as 54 divided by 9. Okay, and so on and so forth. Question 4, again, bust up method, you may have a remainder there. That's why they've got the asterisk there for 9046 divided by 15. And then page 49, quotient is a one-digit number. So what could the quotient be? Work out the quotient is a two-digit number. What it could be, again, a little bit more trickier. So two-digit numbers just means that the answer is going to be 10 or between 10, well, more 10 or more, but less than 100. Two-digit number would be, and then work out the other ones. 6 divided by 892, take away 793. Again, those are 8292, take away 793 in brackets, so we do that first. And then 7b, the bees in 12 hours can make 900 kilograms of honey. How many kilograms of honey do the bees in each beehive make in a year? So that's going to be in a year, 900 divided by 12. Moving on to 50C, again, speed, distance, time, so it should be fairly straightforward. So for the motorcycle, 40 times what number gives you 360, and so on and so forth. And then you got D there, and then moving on to the last one in this quite large unit, one of the largest ones that we've done so far, is going to be practice exercise. So hopefully this won't take too long in terms of going over it, because a lot of the stuff would have been done before. So again, practices there, question column method there, should be straightforward. Question 3, again, correct or incorrect. Quotient for 4a, quotient, again, quotient means the answer is a one-digit, two-digit number. Again, if you get these wrong or they're confusing, I'm not terribly worried about it. I don't think it's very important, because it's not going to come up whether it's a two-digit number or a three-digit number. You're more interested in getting the right answer and really understanding the relation between remainder and what you're being divided by, which is fair enough. So, for example, which of the divisors is correct for 4b? We know that if you're dividing by 8, you should never get a remainder of 90. The remainder has to be less than what number you're dividing by. Okay, so that should help you with the answer there. And then level B, sort these numbers out, so you just have to work them out. And then you got question 2. Again, you can try these yourselves. B's are usually a bit harder, but should be fairly straightforward from what I can quickly see. If they are stuck, then let me know. If you're really keen on going through them, we can go through them. Thank you for that. And we've finished the lesson now. Please put a like and subscribe and share your comments. That would be great. Thank you.